What's up guys, we got this HD 6770 Vapor X for only $15. Let's speed through the unboxing. Time to see what a $15 Vapor X looks like. And here she is. Out of the box, this Vapor X cooler actually looks pretty solid and clean. This model packs 1 GB of GDDR5 memory with full DirectX 11 support, featuring Sapphire's premium Vapor X cooling system. It features dual DVI, HDMI, and a single 6-pin connector. Now, let's install the card into our motherboard for the first test run. Plugging in the single 6-pin power cable. Connecting the HDMI cable for display. Time for the first boot. Let's see if we get a signal. Awesome, we have video output. Let's head straight to install the official drivers. Downloading the legacy AMD drivers directly from the official website. As you can see, Task Manager fully recognizes the card, and opening up GPU-Z confirms all the official specifications are correct. Time for the initial stress test. Let's see how hot this Vapor X cooler runs before the teardown. It maxed out at 69 degrees, which is impressive for an old card. Taking the GPU out of the system for a thorough, clean, and fresh paste. Unscrewing the 4 main retention screws around the GPU core to see what's hiding under the Vapor X cooler. Splitting the card open and carefully unplugging the fan connector, the thermal paste looks completely dried out. Giving the PCB a thorough wash with contact cleaner to dissolve all the old thermal paste residue. Giving the back of the board a quick spray as well, making sure every corner is completely clean. Applying some fresh premium thermal paste onto the clean core. Now, let's put the screws back in. Reinstalling the GPU onto the motherboard and hooking up all the cables for round 2. Moment of truth for the second boot. Let's see if we get a clean post. Everything is fine. Booting up. Time for firmware round 2. Let's see if the fresh paste can improve our 69 degrees. Max temperature is 64 degrees now. Great result for the Vapor X cooler. Firing up Unigine Heaven. It is time to see the performance difference with all the cards from our previous videos and find out where it stands on our leaderboard. Score 321, a clear rebrand of the 5770. Starting the benchmarks with Most Wanted 2012 at 1080p high settings. Let's see what kind of numbers we can get. As you can see, we are hovering just below 30 FPS, making the gameplay barely playable. The GPU is putting up a good fight, but it is hitting its limits. We are averaging 27 FPS, with 1% lows dropping to 24. It is hovering just below 30, making the gameplay barely playable, but surprisingly stable. Without any major stuttering, this performance mirrors the 5770 perfectly. A rough run, but we are moving forward. Let's see how it handles our next game. Next game up is GTA 4. Let's see what kind of numbers we can get here. We are running at 1080p high settings to properly track the performance differences from generation to generation. The game actually feels incredibly smooth so far, and navigating through the heavy traffic of Liberty City is surprisingly responsive. We do notice a few minor frame drops down to 24 or 26 FPS, but it does not stutter nearly as bad as the HD 5000 series from our previous tests. Looking at the metrics, we are hitting a solid average of 30 FPS, with our 1% lows dipping down to 20. Overall, maintaining 30 FPS at high settings means GTA 4 is a massive win for this hardware. The driving experience is great, and the card handles the chaos well. Now, let's gear up and head over to our third gaming test. Moving on to our third game, Battlefield 4. We are testing this title at 1080p high settings to see exactly how much this rebrand can handle. As you can see on the monitor, the game is definitely not playable at 1080p high settings. The frame rate is dropping hard, and the experience is just too choppy to enjoy. This graphics card is really hitting a wall here. This performance mirrors the HD 5770 perfectly, proving once again that the rebrand did not bring any hidden horsepower. High settings are just too much for this architecture. We are averaging 25 FPS, with our 1% lows dropping hard to 14. It maxes out around 32, making the experience just too choppy to enjoy. Now, let's move on to our fourth gaming challenge. Fourth game on our list is Tomb Raider 2013. This is actually the first time we are featuring this title in our retro series, and we are pushing it straight to 1080p high settings to see what this $15 GPU can do. To make things even heavier, we turned tessellation on and enabled TreSFX hair quality. This setup is incredibly demanding for a 1GB RAM card, but it is the perfect way to see a massive performance difference with future GPUs. And as expected, the game is completely unplayable. We are averaging just 17 FPS, with our 1% lows dropping down to 13. Interestingly, RAM usage is stuck at 701 megabytes, meaning the memory bandwidth is completely choked. Default text. Now, let's move on to our next gaming test. Next game up is Far Cry 3. Just like with the previous graphics cards in our series, we are dropping into Rook Islands at 1080p high settings to see if this 6770 edition can handle the open world jungle. The performance here is actually really impressive. We are getting a solid 31 average FPS, and the open world environment feels surprisingly smooth to play. Even though our 1% lows drop to 14, the running and shooting feel quite decent. Another amazing thing to notice is the temperature, which sits comfortably at 65 degrees. Sapphire's VaporX cooler combined with our fresh thermal paste is doing an absolute masterclass keeping this old GPU completely chilled in the heavy jungle environments. Now, let's head over to our next benchmark. And for our final challenge, we have the legendary Crysis. To close out this video, we are running at 1080p high settings to answer the ultimate question: can this $15 VaporX edition handle the heavy CryEngine 2? Believe it or not, the card is absolutely crushing it here. We are hitting an average of 38 FPS, and the gameplay feels surprisingly playable. Even though our 1% lows dip down to 14, the experience is quite stable. What makes this even better is how cool the system runs. Sitting at just 63 degrees under full load proves that this classic VaporX design is still doing an incredible job. The hardware stays perfectly stable without using much power. Overall, the 6770 VaporX is an absolute legend. Thanks for watching, subscribe for the 6790 next, and I'll catch you next time.